Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take, well, a whole stack of info articles, research, you name it, and boil it down for you. Kind of your shortcut to getting up to speed on something important. And today, we're tackling a topic I think pretty much everyone wonders about now and then.
Yeah, it's a big one. We're diving into that question. Is it really possible to start a business with, absolutely zero money? Feels a bit like a myth sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does. That's what most people think. But here's the spoiler alert from everything we dug into. The answer is actually a huge yes. And it doesn't mean you need a trust fund or fancy investors. Turns out it's more about creativity, a lot of hustle, and having the right game plan.
Exactly. So that's our mission today, really, to break down how you can launch a real business without needing any cash up front. We're going to talk about using the skills, the tools, the platforms that honestly you probably already have access to right now.
Okay, let's get into it, because usually when you think start a business, the first word that pops into your head is money, right?
Yeah.
Capital. You assume you need it for everything, building things, buying supplies, marketing. But the really surprising thing from the sources was that your biggest asset, it's not money.
It's your skills.
Yeah.
That's the core idea. It kind of flips the script. So instead of asking, okay, what do I need to buy? You ask, what can I actually do right now that someone would pay for? Maybe you're good at writing, or design, or teaching, or honestly, even just fixing things people find annoying. That's value.
Yeah, and what's great about that, I think, is it takes the pressure off trying to invent the next, billion-dollar tech thing. A lot of the time, it's just about spotting a problem and figuring out how to solve it a bit better or faster, or maybe just cheaper than the next person. That's your in.
And, well, when you look at starting with zero capital, there's one type of business that really stands out as the most practical starting point: service-based businesses. I mean, think about it. If you're selling a product, you usually need inventory, right? And inventory costs money.
Right, upfront cash.
Exactly. But with a service, often your startup cost is literally nothing.
And this got me really excited, actually, because the research was just packed with real-world examples of services you could start tomorrow with no money. Things like freelance writing, graphic design, or being a virtual assistant, managing social media for small businesses, maybe helping people with their resumes or career stuff.
Yeah, or even super local things.
Totally, like home cleaning, lawn care, walking dogs, babysitting, and then online too, tutoring, doing voiceovers, editing videos. The list just goes on.
And the common denominator for all of those, really, it boils down to having a skill and being willing to, put yourself out there and do the work.
Okay, so let's say you've landed on a service idea. The next big question, the one that probably stops a lot of people, is, great, now how do I get customers if I can't afford ads?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the $0 question here. The sources were pretty clear on this. You got to leverage all the free online platforms out there. We're talking about the obvious ones like Fiverr, Upwork, maybe. But also getting creative with things like Facebook groups in your niche.
Yeah, finding those specific communities.
Exactly. Or using LinkedIn for professional services, digging into Reddit threads where your potential clients might hang out, even things like Craigslist or Nextdoor if you're doing something really local.
And a key piece of advice that kept coming up was about just showing up consistently, posting regularly, actually talking to people in those groups, and maybe even offering your service for free or at a big discount at the very beginning, just to get some proof, get those first testimonials. It's like an investment of your time, really.
Yeah, building that initial credibility. And here's something else that really jumped out from the sources, kind of a powerful realization. If you have a smartphone, you basically have a business hub in your pocket, period.
It's so true. We totally underestimate these things. You can run so much of your operation using free apps, like Canva for making simple graphics,
Right.
Zoom or Google Meet for talking to clients. Google Docs or Sheets can handle your invoices and tracking, at least to start. And then use Instagram or TikTok to actually show people what you do.
Yeah, you don't need the fancy office or the expensive software suite right away. You just need reliable ways to, communicate with people, deliver your service, and tell people you exist. Your phone handles all that.
Okay, this next tactic was pretty clever, I thought. It feels a bit old school maybe, but super useful when you've got nothing. Bartering, like the example I gave, was say you need a logo design but have no cash. Well, maybe you can offer to write the website copy for the designer in return.
Absolutely. Bartering is, it's a really powerful tool for growth when you're starting from scratch. trading your time, your skills, your services for something you need. As long as it works for both sides, it's a fantastic way to get resources without spending cash. Makes you really think about what you can offer. And that kind of resourcefulness ties into another really critical point about money, specifically the first money you make. The sources were very clear.
Yeah.
Don't just go spend it on yourself.
Right, this requires some discipline. That initial income, it needs to go straight back into the business. Like, okay, now you can actually buy that proper website domain name. Or maybe upgrade a key piece of software, or take a quick online course to level up a skill, or just improve your service based on what those first clients told you. It's about feeding the business.
There was a great analogy used to treat every dollar like a seed, not a reward. You plant it, you expect it to grow into more.
And while you're planting those seeds, there's this other big hurdle the sources talked about, something that paralyzes so many people: chasing perfection. It basically said, look, your first offer won't be perfect. Your first logo might suck. That's okay.
Yeah, the advice was really direct. Don't wait for everything to be perfect, just launch. Learn from what happens and adapt. It's about moving forward, not waiting. Getting it out there, getting feedback, making it better. Iteration over perfection.
Because what seemed to define the successful entrepreneurs in these stories wasn't always raw talent or the absolute best idea from day one. It was more about being the ones who actually take action, aren't afraid to fail fast, learn from it, and just keep pushing forward.
Which connects nicely to another strategy for getting clients without spending money. Building your brand by just giving value away for free.
Yeah, what does that actually mean, though? According to the sources, it's things like posting genuinely helpful content on social media that relates to what you do, sharing useful tips, telling your own story a bit, really focusing on building trust first. You become a go-to resource, not just a salesperson.
And it's based on that fundamental idea. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So the message is clear. Start showing up. Be helpful. Be consistent.
And this is where it gets really motivating, I think. Because this isn't just theory. The stuff we read was full of actual examples, like real people who started with $0 and built something real.
Absolutely. There was the story of a teenager who just started offering resume advice on LinkedIn, right? Was just posting helpful stuff. And now runs a 6-figure career coaching business.
Wow.
Yeah. And a stay-at-home mom who started tutoring kids over Zoom for maybe $20 an hour. Just started small. Now she has a completely full schedule, juggling multiple clients. And another one, a college dropout who began editing YouTube videos, get this for free just to get some experience and clips.
Just to build a portfolio.
Exactly. And now charges clients over $1,000 a month per client.
That's incredible. And the common thread in all those stories is so obvious, isn't it? They didn't sit around waiting for funding. They just started with what they had. No money, just action. So really, if you've been putting off that business idea, waiting for the perfect time or waiting until you have enough money, this whole deep dive is basically your wake-up call.
It really is. Because the evidence suggests you can launch with essentially just hustle, access to Wi-Fi, and the guts to actually begin.
Yeah. The simplest advice we found, repeated over and over, was just start messy, start small, just start.
So if we accept that money isn't really the biggest barrier, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the most crucial ingredient then for starting anything new? And maybe more importantly, how do you find that within yourself, starting right now?
That's a great question to leave people with. Definitely something to think about. We hope this gives you some things to explore on your own next deep dive.